Okay, good morning. It is Wednesday. This is we call it Saints Week or whatever because it's Easter week. It's a big deal down here. That's something I'll go into it at another time, but strange as it may seem, they're very important holiday. Christmas is sort of is when everybody goes out and gets drunk. Easter is when everybody gets the family together and goes to church and everything. You can't get near the churches, and even in the United States, when we lived in Parsippany, we couldn't get near the Latin church on Easter Sunday unless you were there like at 8 o'clock for a 9 o'clock mass or something there, stuff like that. All right. So first up, Trump's Supreme Court is starting to look very weak. Trump is just thumbing his nose at them and saying, I'm not going to do this and I'm not going to do that. So I don't think that if that's the case, then why should we listen to them either, So he's going to create a problem. One that I don't think he's equipped mentally to handle, so we'll have to wait and see what happens with that one. It's just impossible for him to be that stupid, but he is. And the other thing we talked about yesterday is this big parade, $114 million to so that he can have a bunch of people marching down the street, goose-stepping and saluting. I can't wait to see if they do the Hitler hand salute. If Musk is there, I'm sure he will do it. At which point in time, I think it's time for everybody to go to the gun store. Because life's going to get really, 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 really uncomfortable around. It just that's just what's going to happen. I worry about that. Because innocent people get hurt. And speaking of innocent people, another young boy, a 19-year-old boy, was arrested in front of his house, and as far as they know now, they couldn't find out anything, but now they suspect that he was immediately deported and placed on he's from Venezuela, and no criminal record, not a member of a gang. They have no proof of this whatsoever. They took the wrong kid. And something like there's supposedly over 100 people with no criminal records or gang affiliations been placed in the prisons in El Salvador. So this guy that guy down there must be paying a lot of money making a lot of money off of this deal to keep the kids there, because he won't let the other kid, the original guy, loose. The president, he was here the other day of El Salvador, and he says, I can't do that. Can't do that? You won't do that. I think it's time that something happens with this, because this is Trump's ICE is becoming Trump's secret police. They're becoming the Gestapo of America. And people are scared. If they see ICE on the streets, everybody gets scared. I don't know what to tell you. I don't particularly like ICE agents, but again, I'm not. Yeah, immigration's been a problem in the United States, and there are a lot of ways to handle it, and we sort of just sit back and let it happen, And the reason we do this is Industry's looking for cheap labor, especially the construction industry, So they allow this to happen. It's not something that you can sit around and say, not be blind to the fact that that's why it was going on. It's been going on for a long time. Who's picking our crops? They come up from Mexico. You have a great many people, especially of the from India, and I know this, I've seen them, that come in on these HB1 or 2 visas where they work for the company for X, so the company's paying them to stay in the country for a month, a year, or whatever. They're supposed to go back at the end when the visas expire, and they don't. They have cash, a lot of it. They save up. They live six men to an apartment. I cleaned one of those apartments. They had beds in the sleeping bags in the living room and everywhere else. This was against the law in the town. I don't know whether the town was aware of it or not. But since AT&T was one of the biggest employers in the area, I'm sure they decided to just ignore it. You know, they weren't causing any problems. They weren't throwing a lot of loud parties or raves or anything. They were very quiet people, very nice people, but they don't go home. The guys whose houses I was working on, their wives were coming. So they were getting ready to go back, supposedly, and their wives showed up, you know, so they weren't going back. They pool their money and they buy a cash-oriented business. At the time, that would have been a 7-Eleven or a convenience store or a gas station. Not a gas station because that's all credit cards. But a cash-based store like a dollar store or something like that. They ran all of them. They were franchisees in all of them, you know. And that meant they didn't pay taxes. They were taking the money, and if they got deported, the money was in the bank in India. They didn't care. They went home rich. So you know, that was one of the big problems with immigration. Not the Latinos that are going out doing the kind of work you don't want to do. You want to hire dishwashers? You had guys coming in want $20 an hour to wash dishes 3 hours a day. And you only work for an hour. You know, if you come in, you work maybe 2-3 hours total for the day. The rest of the time, you're just sitting. You can be sitting outside back, smoking or whatever. They don't bother you. They don't care. But you're getting $20 an hour. You're not getting $20 an hour. You're getting like $10 an hour if you're lucky. At the time I was associated with, the minimum wage was something like $6 an hour. All right. But if you asked the white person to do it, which I did one time when I was hiring people for bus boys and whatnot in the restaurant, these guys came up and said that they wanted something just happened with my video, and I'm not sure what happened. But anyhow, so they came up and they wanted $10 an hour plus tips. And I told the kids, I said, for $10 an hour plus tips, I'll take their job. You know, because tips were good in the restaurant I was working in. I mean, you could make some really good money off. You were making really good money off the tips. So anyhow, that's what was going on there. I have so, you know, sitting around saying, we're deporting Venezuelans. I'm not sure the Venezuelans come here to do anything really, except escape the prosecution of their country. You know, to get away from the dictatorship, be able to eat, find food and stuff like that. They're not actively being sought after as workers. Mexicans are. Mexicans have been sought after for years to come up across the border because there was some sort of works thing that they could come across the border and do seasonal work, picking fruit and stuff like that. You know, you say we have a machine. No, you don't have machinery to pick fruit and sort it. No, it's back-breaking labor, hand labor. White people don't want to do it. Okay, mowing lawns. They love owning the companies that mow your lawn, but they don't want to do the job. All right. Golf courses pay a lot of money to their landscaping crews. Okay, so they have usually there a lot of black people and white people doing it, depending on the golf club, and they're paid, a livable wage because it's, they want the place to look pretty. Uh, it's different when you're, dealing with people in the that have a lot of money and stuff like that. But these companies, I mean, ranchers do it. They bring them up to take care of their cattle. Nannies are imported all the time because people don't want to take care of their kids. What do they call them? Au pairs, all right, which is basically a fancy word for slave. This is a I don't know. This is what I see, and this is what happens. And this is it's a depressing thing. But that's immigration. Do we do it wrong? Yeah, but the wrong part about it is how we treat the people. The wrong part about it isn't the what do you call it? Allowing these people to stay here. The crimes come from the people that want them in the country. If nobody hired these people to work, they wouldn't be here. But you would start paying a lot more money for things. You wouldn't see lawns getting mowed all the time. You would probably see teenagers go back to doing that in high school, and maybe they, but they'll still sell drugs instead, because that's the thing about drugs. You can make in an hour what a kid working at Burger King or mowing lawns and whatnot will make in a month. So you don't see people, standing up for this job. All right, listen, I'm starting to meander. I'm having trouble maintaining my thought processes and whatnot because I'm hungry. So I want you to hit the subscribe button. Please hit the subscribe button. And I'll see you tomorrow.